I apologize for that. The situation what's going on is the temptation. That's the situation. Um, he's trying to set the mood of what he can present to Jesus Christ. And the submission part it says yield to the power. Uh, you can be determined, unwavering, or buckle down. And the devil wants God to be submissive to him. It clearly says in verse 9, it says, if thou fall down and worship me. And he also did it with the angels in verse 6. It said shall give angels charge concerning thee. The angels will care. And it said will not let dash your foot dash against a stone. He's showing that the angels are supposed to be submissive. You're supposed to be doing running things. And then you got it in verse 8 and 9. It's like, oh, but I can give you this, you know. All right, goes on to supernatural. The idea, like I was saying before, be careful because the devil gives out gifts as well. He's trying to show what he can do. He's trying to show everything that his supernatural is overpowering than God above. He's trying to try to fool, because it says in verse 6, it says, if thou be the Son of God. If you be the Son of God, then you should be okay. You should be all right. And it said, and then he's like, and the supernatural of him is like, but my supernatural, worship me and all this is yours. So you gotta be careful. But that goes to show you gotta understand that the truthfulness, once again, is the honesty, is the corresponding with reality. And the reality of it is that he is the Son of God. The reality of it is, honesty of it is, that the devil can't give Jesus nothing. But he's trying to be believable, but he's not. Jesus knows better. But Jesus, like I said, you have to go back and read it. Jesus is being straightforward in response to it. It's actions and words. You got to go back and read it. So I say study your Bible. Goes on here, deceitful. That's exactly what's going on clearly in this whole it's part of Matthew 4. The devil's being deceitful. He's misleading him. He's counterfeiting. He's saying that, oh, you worship me, you get this. And the devil dealing say, all right, you know, the kingdoms in the world, and show you how great they are. And they're great, but they can be yours. You know, he's double dealing. You know, and he's shifty. Simple as that. Now, that all leads into the notes. The notes, once again, the first side note is underhanded. And the devil is clearly underhanded. He's a fraudulent. He's unfair. He's crooked. But Jesus is blameless, which is righteous, guilt-free, unblemished, or free from or not deserving of whatever the devil's trying to give him. And I highly recommend you go back and read Matthew 4, the whole set of verses. Goes on right here in the bonus notes we have. This is in Revelations 12, verse 7 through 9. And it starts off and leads with the idea of this is the images that's going to happen in the future. This is what's going to happen at the end of the world. This is the final battle. And like I said, I cannot stress enough, go back and read Revelations 12, the whole entire thing. But for the illustration I'm going to do now is paint the scene of the idea of what's going to happen, the forethought. That's why I did my opening prayer about what he's going to do in the future. But we got to be doing what we need to do for him to be able to get where we need to be in the future, not for what we want to do. What he did in the past, what he clearly did in the past, is fought off the temptations of the devil. What he's currently doing is working and molding and shaping us. And what he's going to do in the future is the final battle. You know, give us a better place to go. All right. Now, verse 7, it says, after there was a war in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Verse 9 says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceit the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. All right, you try to break this down. Like I said, this is the battle. The devil. I did a little bit of research. The devil in the Bible is depicted as several different names, and it clearly says a couple here. It says it says the dragon. Michael is the angel. It's only a handful. I think it's 3 angels in the Bible, and the devil actually was an angel, which I recommend going back and reading on that. That's in Isaiah. Hint, hint. I think it's Isaiah 12. So have fun with that one. But in this illustration, it talks about Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon, and it's like the dragon is the devil, and the devil and his angels, but the devil and his angels did not prevail. It says in 8, it said, and they were found no more in heaven. They were kicked out. And it goes on to verse 9. It says the great dragon was cast out, and that old serpent, and that goes back to the Genesis, when it was talking, it came in the form of a serpent to Eve and Adam. And they said the devil, which I read right there in Matthew, when it's tempting Jesus, and that's Old Testament, New Testament. And it said Satan, which I did find another illustration when it was talking about what they called him Lucifer. I actually found that. I had fun finding that too. And it said, which deceived the whole world. You know, he tempted God. Them think he won't be able to try to attempt you. And it says, and his angels were cast out with him. Everybody went. They lost, and they all went, cast out of heaven into the earth, into earth. Now, I broke those down very quickly, but I want you to understand the past, the present, and the future. And also, like I was saying about the illustration I used with, why would I buy one bottle when I have the water source? Why would I would be tempted to overpay something that's only going to satisfy me for a moment versus buy the whole case, versus have their own water source, versus have a multitude, a better supply or endless supply? You understand? Why fool around with the gifts the devil can give you? Because that's why he's like, how can the devil give you gifts? It clearly states in here how the devil has his own. They were all angels, and they all got cast out. The devil. That's how the devil can easily try to trick you, because the devil knows the Bible as well, but he tries to twist it. He tried it with Adam and Eve, and when he told Eve, you shouldn't surely die. But what she died in the separation. Her and Adam, when God came in the garden after the fact, and he said, Adam, where are you? He didn't ask Adam, like, where are you physically, where are you spiritually, because he didn't feel him. He lost that bond. Because Adam clearly was walking in the garden with God through in the cool of the evening. So he's been doing it. It's been a routine, but now the bond didn't feel right. It felt wrong. That's when he was the old serpent. And like here, and it said the devil, and the devil part was clearly the idea of when he was trying to tempt Jesus. That's in the New Testament. You know, he's always, even from the beginning in Genesis and to the end, when it happens, the final fight, he will always be there trying to tempt you, because he knows our weaknesses, he knows our strengths, and he's going to try to prey on our weaknesses, or the cons and pros and cons, try to prey on us. That's why it's so important That's why I said it several times, and I left parts out intentionally and try to drop hints intentionally for you to study as well, because I want you to be involved. I don't want these podcasts, these episodes, to be a one-sided thing. I wanted to have a full conversation, because I might misread it. I might give you a wrong reference. I want you to come back and comment and help and touch on things. I know when it back to the reasoning and the thought process of to the edge. Like I said, I know how it feels from personal experience. How you can be so close to something and you feel like you're on the edge, feel like you're at the end of your wits. That's why I said about the past, the present, and the future. Each time, like I spoke to a gentleman, which I said on here several times on the podcast. If you're in that point in your life when you can look back over your shoulder, that lets you know that you're moving forward. You're not at the edge. You're just at the end of that moment in time. Building a relationship. Back to that in the thought process of building a relationship, you got to have that strong relationship. That's why I always say my motto, time to study, time to grab your Bible. You got to have that relationship. That's why it goes to the goal, helping and unifying. You got to put your part into it as well. To have help, it means you're doing something as well. And that's why I'm helping others, because I'm doing my part by trying to give you the best I can give you, and I'm trying to show you the best way to do is unifying, and I'm trying to tell you to study it. But my part is to make ways to make moves, in a positive way. Like I said, this podcast, all these episodes, like I said before and I said again, I lived through these before I actually do them most of the time. I ain't gonna say 100% of the time, but like 99.9% of the time that I lived through these. And sometimes it's so difficult to live through these before I produce these. But it comes to that. And it's like, well, how did it come to the point where the devil gives out gifts as well? Because that way, what I had to do for myself, and when doing this episode, I had to lean back on my studies. I had to lean back on grabbing my Bible. I don't do, like I told a gentleman before this past week. I told him, I was like, I'll be hypocritical if I only said these on these podcasts, because he's listened to my podcast before. I'll be hypocritical, just to say help and unify, make, move, study, grab, and not do it myself. I have to do it myself. I can't. I would be wrong, not in just the eyes and ears of the listeners and viewers of this podcast, but I'd be wrong in the eyes and ears of God. I'll be a false prophet in a sense. And that's something I never wanted to do. I don't ever want to seem like the devil is giving out gifts, me being the devil in this situation. But I want to give you that's why I give you the Bible. I tell you to study. That's why I give you the verses. I give you the description and everything. I want you to be hands-on much as possible. It's been a blessing studying this. It's been horrible living through it, but it's been a blessing studying this and knowing that I can fall back on my studies. So, but y'all know me. From my house to yours.